G'day folks. Today I'm out and about, literally, about to have a real good crack. I've already had a bit of a play with this 16-inch 82 volt Victa line trimmer. Really cool so far. Going to give it a bit of a go on this property here. I'm right in amongst the hazelnut trees so far. 82 volts, so this thing is an absolute leviathan. We're going to give it a bit of a crack and have some fun. She's promising a fair bit. Already a couple of little things that I like and they're comfortable. Again, we're talking battery, so we got to get our brains away from petrol, but also, can this sucker replace petrol or not? So, going to give it a real kick now, and we'll see you soon. Righto guys, so these units are pretty sweet. I'm going to give you a bit of detail of them in a second. I just want to say I ended up including the blower in this review because every time I picked this string trimmer or line trimmer up, whatever you want to call it, I picked up the blower straight after to clean up after myself. So it wasn't my plan, but I ended up getting a heap of footage of this and I'm like, well, why wouldn't I use it in this review? Because I think they're a perfect pair. If you think about OPE ranges where you've got mower, hedge trimmer, chainsaw, line trimmers and blowers, this is probably the perfect partner for a blower or vice versa. So look, I've included it in this and we'll chat about that in a second. I want to hit up about the line trimmer first. This thing performed really well. What I'll say is straight up, 2 amp hour battery is what I ran it on majority of the time. I did often put the 4 amp hour in because I needed to run that and feel about the weight distribution, but I got stacks of runtime out of this. I didn't do runtime tests because they're too subjective and I'm just going to cop grief for it, to be honest. So I ran it most of the time with 2 amp hour because it seemed to be a really comfortable sort of weight. So the battery's in. What you need to do when you have this is stick the power button on and you'll see that it's on there now, and then here's a little safety here that you press, and I'll just get that down to there. Press that safety in and you're away. So I'm not sure why we have to have a safety on that when you have to press a power button already to say, hey, I'm going live and I'm starting the thing. But that's how it's set up, so I'm a bit anti-safety apparently. So I just need to know that that's okay. What I would love, since Victa have got that style thing, whether we could have one on the other side, so when you actually depress the trigger, you could then lock that on, so that when you're doing 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes of brush cutting, the thing's actually locked on. I don't think that'd be a major safety issue. Maybe it would, I don't know. But anyway, the thing performs really well. Adjustable handle comes with it, and also a shoulder strap. I don't use a shoulder strap often, so you won't see any footage of me using it. It probably does relieve a bit of the pressure on your arm, but I'm usually happy to swap arms and just work away with it. Even the harnesses and stuff I find quite uncomfortable. I think I'm just a bit of a special cat, and that could be my issue and my issue alone. 16-inch cutting head. So you'll see here she's a fair beast of a head. It has copped a bit of grief. Now that red line's not what came in it. That was a cheap spool that I bought from a hardware store and absolutely love the line. Happy to be proven wrong that there's a better one out there of a big brand name, but 2.4mm twisted red line, absolutely love it. Got no issues whatsoever. The handle, adjust to wherever you want, guys. Mine's a bit, I don't know, off to the angle. Some people have it straight, whatever. It clamps down really tight, hasn't moved on me once. That's key, because there's no point having a stinking handle if the thing's going to move on you. Comes as a split shaft, connect it up, and you're right to go. I've always had a bit of a thing about split shafts and go, I don't like them. I don't know why. It's just something I've got in my head because I haven't had a single issue with this. What you will notice, you might be able to pick it up in the footage and hear it, but you'll certainly notice it when you go to test one or use one somewhere. You'll hear a bit of shaft noise, and at first it's quite disconcerting. You go, I'm not sure if I like that sound. Well, guess what? Put yourself a 2-stroke and 4-stroke motor on the back, you're not going to hear that. So on the flip side, you're not going to hear the shaft noise on a petrol unit, so you probably never knew that that sort of noise existed. I haven't had a problem with it, nothing's gone wrong with it. I've done light trimming of concrete edges and driveways, so it's easy enough and light enough to manoeuvre and do nice fine stuff. I've also borderline brush cut with it, so I think the thing's performed really well and stacks up. $299, sorry, for a skin is what this will cost you. And I think around the $449 or $499 for a kit with battery and charger. So, which brings me across to the fact that then you would just skin up with this blower. Now at $229, certainly not the cheapest on the market, but it's also not the most expensive on the market. 201 kilometers, air comes out the front. Now, before you start typing and giving me grief, I understand there's a difference between CFM, kilometres that come out, the size of the tube, the size of the exit. I understand all that. What I'm saying is this thing practically works absolutely super. The numbers stack up, you go, cool, that's pretty much what I want, around the 500 CFM and a couple hundred Ks out the end. So all I'm going to say is try and go and use it somewhere, or check out some other guys that have reviewed it and see what they think practically, because numbers don't always tell the whole truth. One thing I really love with this, and going back to a bit of what I said with the line trimmer, I love the fact that when I stick a battery in this, now I wouldn't recommend putting a 4 amp hour in the blower, it is quite heavy to the end, but you'll actually hit your power button here again, and instead of having to hit the trigger and then this little lever here, I can actually just push this lever down and then back up. So push the trigger down if you want and then lock it, but this lever, it actually pushes it down itself. So if I just turn it off, so it's not doing it, and you'll notice that. I love that, because I don't see why a blower, why you wouldn't have some sort of thing to lock it on, which is what I'd love here. Just going back to the batteries, I think a 4 amp hour battery in this blower is way too heavy, because if I pick it up here, straight away. Now if I do that with a 2 amp hour, it does the same. I'd love to somehow see it, I don't know how, I'm no designer, to bring this forward a bit or flip it so that the battery's on the underside, because it does become quite awkward to be pushing it down with your wrist the whole time. In saying that, didn't hurt my wrist. I'm left-handed, I've got a smashed left wrist, a plate in there for life, so my left wrist often cops it a little bit. I didn't get a sore wrist from it, so I'm not going to say it's an issue. I'm just saying, from a design point of view, would love to change it. On that, in blowers in general, if I can just generalise a little bit, your pants or your shirt often gets sucked into this intake. Now, look, it's got to get air from somewhere. You can't have it necessarily from the top, or I don't know. But whether you could have this thing so it's actually got a big swivel chute, or if this whole thing could swivel left or right. I'm a lefty, so I could flick it to the other side. The right-handers could flick it. I just think it'd be pretty cool if they could work out a way to change that. It's not a massive issue. It didn't hold me up, and most blowers you have that issue when your pants start getting sucked into the intake. So overall, guys, I think these are a really nice unit. 5-year replacement warranty. Now that's important, because if you're a bit worried about going to a brand where you go, I'm not quite sure of it, I'm not quite sure about the whole battery thing, how's it backed up? 5-year replacement warranty. Now of course there's conditions. If you've abused the thing and dropped the thing out of the truck, you're probably going to cop a bit of curry, but you've got a warranty on this that's going to last you. 70 dBA for the blower. I forgot to mention that, sorry. There's one thing I'd love to see actually change on the Victa, and only because it takes a little bit to work out. If you push down on this button to release it, it's extremely hard. What you've got to do is push that battery in and then hit it. It's a really hard button. Because they've got two dirty big springs up the back that you click it into, so your battery's located tight, so it's not wobbling around and causing contact issues. So I don't know, I say I'd like them to change that. I'm not sure how they would, because it does make really solid contact. So what I'd say to you is make sure that you push and then release it, and you're right to go. It's a big battery, it needs to be held in there tight. So maybe that's the reason why, and maybe I'm just a bit of a fool. Overall, guys, really like the things. Please go and check them out. And yeah, pricing seems to stack up. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please ask me any other questions. These are my daily users now and have been for nearly 2 months on the property and around my home, just doing little bits and pieces. OPE battery gear is super convenient. So don't be afraid of getting out there and giving it a crack. I'm telling you now, your property's going to end up a lot cleaner because it's so quiet. 8 o'clock at night, buzz around, give it a bit of a blow off or a little trim, no issue. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit me with some questions. If you like the video, hit like, subscribe, all those bells and whistles. And certainly we're on social medias as well, so follow us on Instagram or Facebook, and we'd love to hear your comments. Thanks guys, see you next time.